everybody, my name is Phoebe. I'm Inky Plum here on YouTube. Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, hello, how are you? It's very nice to meet you. Please excuse the wet hair. I had a shower and then I tied it up in like a little bun on top of my head. Forgot about it, and because it's so fucking thick, it's still wet now. I've only just taken it out. Today I'm going to talk to you about invisible illnesses, more specifically my one. I feel like as a whole society has definitely progressed in how they accommodate people with invisible illnesses, but also there's still a little bit of a way to go really. Back when I was about 13 years old in my second year of secondary school, I was in a PE lesson, and basically at the end of the lesson the teacher summarised what we'd learnt and dismissed us. We went up to get up and leave. I tried to stand up and my knee locked. Now, for as long as I can remember, my knee has locked. It would literally just like get itself into a weird position, or I'd move it suddenly and it would just lock. It kind of had like a poppy sound with it, and usually I'd just like jolt it and it would go back to being freed up again. But in this PE lesson, when I went to get up, it locked, and I tried to move it back to its normal, like, what would you call that? Extension slash not extension. And it didn't work. It just stayed locked, which was really weird for me, and I panicked. We ended up going to the hospital because obviously I couldn't walk. It was just locked at a 90-degree angle, couldn't bend it, couldn't straighten it, nothing. Went to the hospital. They were really quite dismissive actually. They were like, why can't you straighten your leg? I don't know, I literally just moved and it fucking locked, okay? I'm a little bit bitter about this because if it had been picked up on sooner, I wouldn't have had nearly as many problems as I have done over the last however long. So basically, got given some crutches and a really shitty knee support that probably did more harm than good, and got sent home. And they said it would be like 6 weeks before I was back on my feet again. And it was 6 weeks more or less, and then more or less a month after that it happened again. I don't know what I was doing that time. I don't remember quite as significantly as when it actually happened originally, but it happened again and I couldn't move my knee back into place. So after this recurring about 5 or 6 times, the doctors finally decided that was worth looking into, gave me an MRI and found out that I had a cartilage tear in my knee, which is more or less what you get when you do sports a lot, because obviously your cartilage gets worn down from all of the exercise and the sports and whatnot, and is more likely to tear. Or when you're 60 and you've been on your feet all your life and it's worn down as well. I'm not 60, and by no means do I play sports either. I mean, I definitely don't do sports. In any case, they just assumed I did and operated. The operation was actually successful in repairing the cartilage. Kudos to them. But they didn't know I had a disability, more or less. Which caused further complications. Once discharged from having the operation, I was literally readmitted within the next day because I was in so much pain. More pain than you'd expect for a surgery that small. It was keyhole surgery. It should have felt like nothing really. I got discharged because they couldn't find out why I was in so much pain, and after a while it did settle, which was fine. But then a month after being discharged from the actual operation, I was readmitted for 2 weeks straight because I developed further complications. I was in a lot of pain. They still couldn't find out why. In any case, I ended up being diagnosed with, initially, hypermobility syndrome. So it's where your joints are a bit lax than others. I wouldn't necessarily call it a connective tissue disorder because people can be hypermobile without having a connective tissue disorder. But it means you can do all of like weird bendy shit and bend your joints beyond their means. Funnily enough for me, I got it in my knee, and that was the diagnosis I had. Didn't really get much information on it. Was recommended to go to hypermobility.org, but a lot of people didn't know really what it was about either. Anyway, a couple of years later, I was still experiencing locking in my knee, but it didn't stick. It didn't, like, I could jolt it out again and it would be fine. so I wasn't too concerned about that. I was just thinking maybe it's part of the hypermobility. In any case, a couple of years down the line, I developed further complications, not necessarily with my knee. I managed to like fall off of a chair, so I kind of like, I was leaning on someone. Basically, my boyfriend at the time was playing on his computer and I had my legs up on him. So my legs were on him and I was sitting in the other chair and I was falling asleep and I kind of like fell that way. And it woke me up because it hurt and there was like this popping sound, similar to a popping sound. And there was a sudden onset of pain. It was manageable, just took some painkillers, had a hot water bottle, went to bed, whatever. A couple of weeks after that, I was rummaging around under my bed. Must have moved awkwardly because there was an immediate horrible onset of pain. It was really, really quite horrible. Dealt with it, still went to school, although it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all and I ended up getting sent home a couple of times. And then I started peeing myself. Literally couldn't control my bladder. Initially they thought it was called a quina, something like that. I was taken to hospital as an emergency, had an emergency MRI to check if anything was wrong with my back, and I had prolapsed disc in my lumbar region, so the lower part of the back, but there was no indication there to say that it was causing my loss of continence, my incontinence. That explained the back pain but not the peeing. I was then in hospital for another 16 days, I think it was, on the children's ward. I was under gynecology because obviously lady bits. I was under neurology because it could have been a nerve thing, and I was under orthopaedics as well. Orthopaedics couldn't decide what it was apart from the fact that I had a prolapsed disc. Gynecology didn't seem to want to know if it didn't have anything to do with my vagina. And then neurology were actually quite interested. And by the time neurology got around to me, I'd been there for about 14 days already. Things had kind of settled because I'd been given an internal dwelling catheter, which is like a tube going into your urethra, and they blow up a little balloon so that it sits inside the bladder so that it doesn't fall out, and you pee into a bag. So that stopped me from wetting myself. That was fun. I had it in for about just over a month and got it out on the 24th of December, and my god, was that the best Christmas I have ever had. In any case, at this time I had racked up the diagnosis of hydronephrosis, to do with retention in the bladder, backing up to my kidneys, and they couldn't explain the incontinence part, possibly because I'd retained so much fluid it was just like letting it out, I suppose. No idea, never got resolved. Prolapsed disc obviously, and then neurology wanted to transfer me to a different hospital within the same county because what they had been looking at was a full body scan, head included, and they'd found lesions on the brain and swelling in the brain. My pupils, I don't know if you can see now, have always been different sizes as well, so one's smaller than the other, but they both dilate and undilate at the same time. And at this point I was experiencing spasms in my leg violently and constantly, and diazepam would just about settle it but not stop it. So they wanted to do a lumbar puncture at this other hospital. At this point, because the wetting had stopped and I could manage more or less the spasms and the pain with painkillers and muscle relaxants, I just said that I wanted to be discharged home and seen as an outpatient. I was, I think, 14 at the time and very scared of the idea of someone putting a needle in my back and withdrawing fluid. Don't like needles, I say, with tattoos everywhere. So that was fun. We didn't actually know what they were doing the tests for at the time, and I eventually declined because they wouldn't allow anyone else in the room with me, despite the fact that I was still classed as like a minor, and I have a massive phobia of needles, or did at the time at least. I've kind of had so many needles stuck in me now that it doesn't really matter to me anymore. In any case, when I accessed my medical records, they were looking for multiple sclerosis, which obviously if I did have, I haven't been diagnosed with because I didn't go through the lumbar puncture. Things settled down for a little while. Every now and then I might get a bout of incontinence. after the catheter was taken out on the 24th of December of that year, it just sorted itself out. I don't know whether the fact that the bag had peed for me or the tube had peed for me helped. I don't know, it literally just settled down. It was the best Christmas ever. So since then I have had trouble with my knee, random soft tissue damage all over the place. I literally wake up one morning and my ankle would be the size of fuck knows. I've also had trouble with my back still, hips, neck. They asked me if I fell off a horse because the MRI scan showed my neck had some weird bulge in it. That was fun. I've never been on a horse, so I've not fallen off one. My fingers hyperextend all the time, so sometimes I wear plastic finger splints, and I had to take all of my GCSEs and A-level exams on a laptop because I couldn't hold a pen to write that long. And then eventually, last year, I dislocated my right elbow, which is when I started this channel up, because I was out of work because I couldn't work, and I'm a restless person. So I wanted to do something, and The Sims was an easy game to play with one arm, and sharing it online just seemed really fun, I suppose. And I've made so many fucking great friends on here. It makes me so happy. In any case, yeah, I dislocated my arm, and obviously if you're hypermobile anyway, if you dislocate a joint, whether you're not hypermobile or not, it's likely to go again because you've already done it. If you're hypermobile, you're even more likely to dislocate it again. So, and then a few months after that, I managed to dislocate my knee, and then I was in a wheelchair for 5 months because I couldn't be on crutches because my elbow was still being a bit of a nuisance, and I obviously couldn't walk. So I was in a wheelchair for 5 months. The spasms happened again in the knee. I occasionally lost control of my bladder. It was literally like a repeat of however long ago. So that was fun. I literally feel like I've lost a lot of my teenage years because of it, because I missed out on so much school. I missed out on a lot. And then late last year, I was finally diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which we suspected I had anyway. Basically, EDS is a connective tissue disorder. There's been a massive reclassification as of March of this year, 2017. It's really hard to explain, but basically the terminology has changed. There's a hypermobility spectrum disorder, there's Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and different variants and types of that. And then there's the heritable disorder of connective tissue. There are different symptoms and stuff that make up this syndrome. So IBS was one of it. Sometimes like urinary stuff, gynecological issues, which I have also had. I've had 3 miscarriages since the age of 17, and I am 99% sure it's down to the fact that I have EDS. I just hope in the future when I do try to have children or want to have children, I don't have so much of an issue as I have had in the past. In any case, it does affect me on a day-to-day basis. I used to love really long walks and bike rides. I have to be careful with that now because it could potentially aggravate the joints that are the weakest. Currently, I am under orthopedics because my knee has likely gone again, and it's okay now. It's done that thing where it goes back to being fine after 6 weeks. But I think I've torn the cartilage again because of where my joints don't sit properly and it grinds about. And I am most likely going to have an operation by the end of the year, which is fun. But if it means that I have an operation once every 10 years and it doesn't lock and I'm not in a wheelchair every other month, then fingers crossed this operation will do what it needs to do without causing too much by way of complications, and university goes okay. That's all I really want. And maybe like a family one day. I really want 3 children. Anyway, my name's Phoebe and I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Thank you very much. Like this video if you like it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!